I'm laying down because it's late. Mm, I wouldn't say I'm tired. I'm a little tired, but not much. Um, Saturday was the summer solstice. I went to a festival around where I live, and I was wearing a "To Write Love on Our Arms" tank top I had gotten. I've recently done all my laundry and was very excited to find it again. And I had pride colors on it, and so I got wished like happy pride and stuff. But one woman acknowledged the website, and she's like, "Yeah, it's a great website." And I was just standing there, and my back was actually to this guy. And this guy walks up, and he holds out a tag on the bottom of his shirt. He's like, I'm with you, or I'm in the same boat as you. And his tag said, "Hope is defiant," and "To write love on our arms." It took my brain a minute to catch up. Um, and then I was like, "Oh, that's yeah." Like, I would say that's cool because it was cool because he was wearing a shirt, but it also means like he's probably been through some stuff. So he introduced himself, and I introduced myself, and he was like, he said something along the lines of like, "Keep going, it gets better." And it was just like a very brief interaction, but a very, very positive interaction. And I think, well, I don't know what he was feeling or thinking, but for me, it made me feel more connected. And like, people do have an idea of what I've been through and what I continue to deal with. Everybody's journey is different, but just that one small connection made me realize, like, maybe I'm not as alone as I thought. And that was pretty cool. And for those that don't know, To Write Love on Our Arms is a website um that has like hot hotlines and stuff, and it's for self-harm and like suicide. Well, not suicide, but like suicidal ideation, I guess is the correct term. um and I think eating disorders too, they have like a lot of different resources. And when I started cutting, I thought it was a really cool is a strong word, but it was like a really cool website because it's like, okay, other people struggle through this, and I'm not walking through this alone. Like, there are other people here that are dealing with this. Um, my main struggle with self harm, besides like wanting to do it all the time, was feeling like I was too old to do it, and like I should have better coping skills, and like this is something teenagers do. Um, because I didn't start cutting until I was in college. Like, I was at the end of my freshman year in college, and it was rough when I started cutting. And I mean, I think when you cut, you automatically feel some shame around it, or at least I did. And then I also felt another wave of shame because I'm like, I'm too old to be doing this. Like, I'm not a teenager anymore. And felt very alienating because a lot of people do self harm, but a lot of people that I know did it as teenagers and teens. And it's something they can be like, "Oh, yeah, I was a teenager." And I did it as an adult. And it had a different impact on my life than I thought it would, I guess. Like, I did it on and off for about 10 years. And at the end, it became an addiction. Like, I felt like I had to, or I wouldn't make it through the day. Um, then I started being like reckless with it and should have had stitches a few times, but I didn't go. Um, I'm still learning that it's okay to struggle with these because my little brain was just trying to find a way to cope with all the emotions I was feeling and everything I was dealing with at the time. And I just recently found that old journal from around that time, and like I was pretty sad and lonely and felt like nobody cared and nobody was there. And I was talking to my therapist about it today actually, and she was like, I actually see some of those themes that you wrote about back then reflected in what we talk about today. So yeah, those themes are still with me, unfortunately. But I have also grown. Um, I'm getting help now. I haven't self harmed in a few years, or maybe a little more than that. I want to sometimes though. I went to like a mental institution because I was just like standing in my bathroom with a knife against my arm, about to self harm for the first time in a while. And I realized something inside of me was broken. Not broken, that's not the right term. I just needed some help, like more help. And therapy every week or every other week was given me. And I got the help I needed. I'll talk about that experience later because that deserves its own video. I feel like, um, but where it was kind of like an addiction for me, I still think about it. Like, my therapist Lauren has noticed, like, when I feel vulnerable, especially, she'll be like, "All right, how you feeling?" And I'm like I want to cut, and she's like, She does that therapist thing, like grunt or agreement that therapists do, that um. That's also good because therapists notice patterns like we might not necessarily notice about ourselves, um, and they'll call it out. Well, Lauren will call it out, and Laura will definitely call it out. So I feel like the better relationship you have, they'll be like, nope, I got way off subject, but that's okay. Um, but yeah, that experience at the Summer Solstice Festival was something I won't forget. Um, and it was just a really brief interaction, but it was enough of an interaction to really stand out to me and make me feel less alone in this world. And that's what people need. They need to know that other people have been there or are going through something and they made it through okay. Not They might not have made it through without some rough patches, but they made it through and they're trying to hold everything together, and they're taking it one day at a time. And I guess it's just a good reminder for all of us that we have to take it one day at a time. As Laura would say, like, thoughts and feelings are temporary. Um, DBT therapy, dialectical behavioral therapy, talks a lot about like riding your emotions like waves because they ebb and flow. Um, I actually have a little pin I wear on my lanyard at work that says riding the wave. And it's just a good reminder that, yeah, like at times you may feel overwhelmed and sad and angry or whatever, but there's also times when you might feel joy and love and peace. Um, there's a, I want to say a sociologist, but she might have been an anthropologist. Margaret Mead, and she has this quote I love, and I'll post it down here. But it's like, it says something about like, she says it a lot more eloquently, but we can't have light without darkness or love without pain, because without either one of these, we'll never experience one or the other. I'll post it down there. She makes it sound better. But these are just some night thoughts I had, and I just want to share that experience I had. I got a new nose ring, and I think I like the circle ones better because they stay centered more. But anyway, catch you later.